Hello, and thank you so much for being with us this September 22nd, first day of fall. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, and this is Weather Out West, our hour-long show where we showcase what's expected weather-wise across the western United States. You'll find forecasts from our team of meteorologists in Colorado, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, and Arizona. The fall equinox is now here, and as we transition to a new, colder, wetter season, let's start in Colorado, where showers are impacting the region today. Let's get to our team in Denver with the track.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Kathy Sabin. This is the start of fall today, the autumnal equinox at 12:19 Mountain Time, and already looking like fall in the Colorado High Country. So many changing leaves of all varieties and colors, yellow, orange, gold, and green. And some of the leaves may come down with an approaching storm that's coming our way from the northwest. It's going to offer some really good rain to Denver later tonight into Tuesday and some mountain snow. The snow and wind could certainly impact travel into the mountains to see the changing leaves, but also take some of the leaves down off the trees. So we do have the best chance for rain later today and tomorrow, and then it's dry and mild back to fall's finest as we move through the first full week of the new season. We're tracking a weather system spinning outside of Phoenix, but this is the weather maker coming in from the northwest, so we'll usher in a cooler weather trend. Mountain snow, rain for Denver, and highs on Tuesday will be in the 50s. So that is really, really cool. Other than that, we have the heaviest showers really kind of holding off for the next 12 to 24 hours. And we'll see some storms outside of Dallas, St. Louis, and Chicago today that could impact travel there. Severe threat is really kind of in the Omaha to Wichita down to the Dallas area today. And here we're going to be tracking a line of showers over the Colorado-New Mexico line in the afternoon and up over the northern mountains. But it's really not until later in the day with the arrival of the front that we start to see the cloud cover, the wind, the rain settles in tonight, and it could be heavy at times right through Tuesday. 50s to start, mid 70s by the afternoon. We got a little bit of sunshine in the morning, cloudy skies in the afternoon, 40% chance of rain today, 60% chance tomorrow, and then sunshine and 70s for Wednesday. Into the 80s we go for Friday and into next weekend. So for the first full day of fall on Tuesday, how about a little mountain snow?
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. Fall is upon us. The equinox 12:19 this Monday, September 22nd. It's been a beautiful last couple of days. Colorado's high country, the leaves are changing, but we are bracing for a big change in the weather department. Taking us back to September 22nd of 1946, a trace of snow fell in Denver. That marked the longest snow season on record. That was 263 days. The snow fell here in town until at least June of 1947. We're not talking snow here for the Denver area, but our first significant mountain snow. So a cold front approaching, causing us some big impacts across the state as we get into this afternoon and evening. Strong winds, rain likely through this afternoon and evening. Temperatures will fall drastically for tomorrow as we see our first full day of fall on Tuesday. Mountain snow set to accumulate, widespread rain across the plains. It's because our temperatures are expected to be well above freezing in the 40s here in Denver, but you can see upper 20s in Leadville, and you get to higher terrain, especially over 10,000 feet. We are looking at that snow to stick to our mountain peaks. Typically, we do see some snow in September. Only one snowless September on record here in Denver in the last 23 years, but I want to take us back as well to the largest first September snowfall that we've seen on record since 1882. Back in 1936 at the end of the month, 16.5 inches, 15.5 more than that in 1971, around a foot of snow at the end of September. That was back in 1959, and most recently in 1985, 8.7 inches of snowfall. Now, as we look ahead, we are predicting, at least here at 9 News through the Weather Impact Team, October 22nd looks to be our first measurable snowfall, but as we brace for our potential impact day tomorrow, do expect rain showers accumulating, mountain snow above 9,000 feet, anywhere between 3 and even 8 inches over our higher mountain peaks. Mountain travel and also Aspen viewing may be impacted, especially for tomorrow. But then as we go through the next several days, warmer and drier weather. No snow on this 7-day forecast, at least for the Denver area.
Oh my goodness, it's hard to believe it's fall and we're already talking about snow. Well, Arizona's a little bit of a different story. We say goodbye to triple digits in Arizona. double digits are a welcome sight as the summer comes to an end. Let's get now to meteorologist Jen Wall in Phoenix with the latest.
Hey, good Monday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Jen Wall here in the 12 News Forecast Center. A look at temperatures across the state right now. We're still in the low 80s in Phoenix, but it feels pretty cool outside. We have very high dew points, a lot of moisture left over from weekend storms. You can see as you move north, though, it gets a lot cooler. 60s, Sedona, Payson, Winslow, low 50s, Flagstaff, and upper 70s west to Lake Havasu City. Across the valley, there's even some 70s. It's beautiful as you're waking up on your Monday morning. I mean, if you can get out and take a walk, highly recommend that across the lower deserts. Upper 70s Mesa, Apache Junction, Gilbert, Queen Creek. It is just a stunning morning. We still have some moisture streaming in, mostly in the western part of the state and then north of the Phoenix area. Not out of the question to get some storms across the valley through about 8 o'clock this morning, maybe some light rain. It's a very slight chance. We'll be watching it really closely as this low pressure system brings in that chance for storms. Here's how it's going to play out on your Futurecast. Yeah, if you're planning on driving north today, just keep your eyes on the skies, because man, even around 10:30 this morning, you can see the bulk of the moisture is going to shift off to the north right along rim country on the 17, so you can definitely hit some areas of heavier rain. But by this afternoon, we do start to clear out across the state, and we're pausing your Futurecast this evening around 9 a.m. Just a few clouds left between Phoenix and Flagstaff, and we'll be dry for a couple of days following today. Today, average highs, so really nice in the desert. We'll be looking for double digits, and then the deserts to dry out over the next couple of days. But storms do make a return. We'll show you in your 7-day forecast. Before we get to that, we got to get through today, right? So your monsoon meter, it's going to be at a 2 here in the valley, southeastern Arizona. The best chances for any action is going to be north and east of the Phoenix area. A 7 in northern Arizona, 8 for Rim and White Mountains. High today in the valley, 99, right at average, dealing with no potential records today. Thankfully, 109 is where we would have to be to make that happen. So we're not even close. By about 10 a.m., Phoenix area is in the upper 80s and then low 90s noon. I mean, we don't even have triple digits in your hour by hour forecast today. So really nice. That's a lot of relief after a long, hot summer. Taking a look at temperatures across the state, 100 Gila Bend today, 96 Casa Grande, 87 Globe, 99 Phoenix, 95 in Parker, 75 Prescott, 70 Flagstaff, 76 in Winslow. Isolated rain early, and then, yep, we dry out. Wind only at about 5 miles per hour today. Should have pretty clear skies, and it's going to feel warm. Later today, tonight, down to the lower 80s across the Phoenix area. Here's a look at how your 7-day forecast is going to play out. That slight chance for storms through this morning, and then take a look by tomorrow and Wednesday. The heat returns. Dry skies, higher pressure, up to almost 107 on Wednesday. Okay, so almost about 10 degrees above average. But then as quickly as temperatures rise, moisture is going to bring them back down around the valley. So we'll be looking at double-digit highs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Overnight lows in the 70s. It's going to be beautiful. And the best rain chances are going to be Thursday and Friday. Very slight lingering through the weekend. Your Flagstaff 7-day forecast, it's going to be an active one today with daytime highs in the 70s. But then they dry out around Flagstaff too. Tomorrow, Wednesday, close to 80 degrees Thursday with those storm chances returning. And take a look at this weekend up north. I mean, enjoying the fall colors and upper 60s for highs.
Thank you. Next, after the break, we are going to head to California, where the state is split. Some communities are also going to see showers that Jen just talked about, while others are still settled into a warm summer-like pattern. We'll have those forecasts after the break. Welcome back to Weather Out West. That rain that Jen showed you in Phoenix is also impacting Southern California. Let's go to meteorologist Vanessa Paz with where and when rain will hit San Diego.
Well, happy Monday and first day of fall from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. All right, we were gloomy to start off our Monday, but the good news is that we are on the tail end of a storm that saturated the second half of the weekend, and we're now looking at drier conditions as we kick off the new work week. Let's go ahead and showcase one of our viewer picks. This is from Art Harrell. Thank you so much for submitting that in. We get incredible shots, as you can imagine, living in San Diego from so many of our viewers, and we're always appreciative of that. Showers will line up all the way through the afternoon, but warm temperatures will continue to linger. We are looking at drier and cooler weather midweek before another system potentially brings us more rain towards the second half. So here's the hourly chance of rain for the coastal areas starting at 10 o'clock. I mean, we went from 80–90% plummeting down to about 15% in terms of that probability for precipitation, and we'll actually stay in that range all the way through about 4 p.m. I'm not ruling out the chance for a stray shower here or there, but the likelihood fairly minimal, especially in comparison to what we were under yesterday. 48-hour rainfall totals look like this. Palomar Mountain got some nice precipitation numbers, close to about a quarter or so. Meanwhile, most areas along the coast and inland valleys, our most populated neighborhoods, just got a few hundredths of an inch. We got about 5 hundredths for Escondido as well as Chula Vista. Meanwhile, Oceanside, San Diego International Airport, as well as Fashion Valley got anywhere between 2 to 3 hundredths or so. All right, so here is one of our models. This is our rainfall forecast, and as I fast forward and put this into play here, Monday afternoon we are going to see again, or this afternoon I should say, we will see activity lighten up significantly, especially for the county's southern half, and then towards the northern half we could see those clouds and showers continue to linger. Again, the showers this afternoon will be few and far between, and we're looking at much drier conditions fast forwarding to Tuesday, especially towards the noon hour. Sunshine will likely prevail. As we take a look at what's happening aloft, that ridge of high pressure bottom right of your screen, that's the warmer air paired with this cutoff low hanging off the coast of Southern California. Those two together are actually helping continuing to push in that tropical moisture for us here in SoCal. That cutoff low kind of just sits stagnant over the west coast here over California, providing more shower activity to central and northern California. It's going to eventually dive south, a secondary cutoff low looking ahead to Friday, and that will usher in onshore flow, strengthening onshore flow and bringing us some more moisture along with cooler temperatures. So here's what highs look like for your Monday. We'll be in the mid to high 70s along our coastal and beach neighborhoods. Warmer by about 10 degrees or so for most of those inland valleys. We'll be touching close to 90 degrees for Escondido as well as Ramona. Low 80s out in Julian, and mid 90s expected this afternoon for Borrego Springs. Here's what your coastal 7-day forecast looks like. Again, fall equinox started at 11:19 this morning, and it looks like we will be feeling fall-like, but it won't happen until the second half of the work week. So it looks like now all the way through about Tuesday and Wednesday will be some of the warmest days, and then temperatures will drop off slowly but surely looking ahead to Thursday and Friday. Remember, Friday is when we'll have another surge of moisture, but that will be some cooler air also filtering in, which will be a nice assist into kicking off our first weekend of fall. We'll be in the high 70s all the way through Friday, and we're going to warm up slightly come Sunday. As we take a quick look at the mountains and desert areas, we're talking about low 80s this afternoon. The temperatures, when it comes to the next 7 days, will peak on Tuesday. We're topping out close to 90 degrees, and then we're hitting low 80s by the time we get to Wednesday for spots like Julian. As we take a quick look at the desert areas, mid 90s this afternoon, climbing about 5 degrees or so Tuesday and Wednesday, and then temperatures will come crashing down Thursday all the way into the weekend.
Thanks, Vanessa. Northern California is not tapping into that tropical moisture as much as southern. Rob Carlmark joins us now with the warmer temperatures still sticking around in Sacramento and surrounding areas.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Rob Carlmark out here in Northern California, and our weather pattern lately has been sort of all over the place. We had some rain, some thunderstorms last week, which is not that uncommon for very late summer, but it always throws people for a loop because we're just kind of thinking ahead down the road for some bigger storms, and we're not there yet. So for the coast, we've got some mild conditions. Today for the valley, it's going to be hot. We're looking at mid-upper 90s. For the foothills, same sort of deal, but down a little bit because of elevation. So we're looking at low 90s. And then the Sierra is going to be warm, clocking in the 70s and 80s. So this month as a whole has actually been pretty good for us. We've seen so many below average days in the 80s. It's just been a really good way to end the summer. Then it got hot for a little bit, but the one thing that we've been able to do this entire summer is stay away, for the most part, from triple-digit temperatures. We've only seen 13 days when we average 16, but we have not seen anything 105 or hotter. So that's usually something that happens fairly often, about 5 days during the year, and we've had 0. And here's another 0. We are officially here on the first day of fall. So now we're switching over to a new season for us. And just a casual reminder, usually fall starts off on a warm note. The average high on the first day of fall is 87 degrees, so it usually tends to be warm. Reflecting on our fire season, we've seen a lot of fires, to be honest with you, nearly 7,000 fires according to CAL FIRE, which is the state firefighting agency, among other firefighting agencies as well. So we've seen about 500,000 acres burned this year. That's a lot. It's more than last year, but it's about half of what we typically have over the last 5 years. I will say that over the last 5 years, last year and this year have been down as far as the acres burned, but prior to that, there was just massive fires all over the place. Very high 5-year average. So, we're more or less, I would say, on par with what we typically see around here. If anything, just a little bit below average. Now for smoke, we've been monitoring smoke this entire summer. We've seen a few days where some haze has drifted in from some local fires from far northern California or even in the central Sierra. There's a big one near Fresno, not in Fresno, which is valley, but in the mountains near Fresno. Now there's a few in Washington State, and we're starting to see some haze get close to us. But as you can see through the overnight cameras, things are clear, things are looking pretty good. And one of the other things that we monitor and try and update you here on Weather Out West is that our big lakes and reservoirs, these numbers may look like they're shrinking, but many of these reservoirs, compared to average, Shasta is above average, Oroville's above average, Folsom's the only one that's just slightly below. What happens is that we just barely get any rain at all from about May all the way until usually October. So these numbers are always going to go down. But compared to how they typically are, we're still above average for most big local lakes and reservoirs. So it's been a pretty good summer, all things considered. Not that hot. And just muddling along with just very little variation in the weather. It's been good, few hot days, but not extreme heat and not extreme fire conditions. So one thing that we're keeping an eye on is that we've got the leftovers of another tropical system. This is down in Southern California. Not typically a big deal, but the last one on Friday of last week drifted up and we did get showers and thunderstorms and some overnight rain. This one looks like it's going to start to fall apart by about Wednesday or so. So we're just really focused on another hot day ahead of us with highs in the mid-90s, and then we're going to start to cool down. So across the region, you're going to see a lot of temperatures out there that look like we're way up there, and they are. These are all well above average, but we're staying away from triple-digit heat. We're staying far away from records. So you know what? We're going to go back and forth. When we get to the first day of fall, you're going to have some hot days, you're going to have some cool days, you're going to get some early rain. And where we're headed in the next several days is that we're looking at hot weather for sure, but a nice little cooling trend as we get back to the 80s by Wednesday and stay there for the rest of this week.
Thanks, Rob. Still ahead after the break, we continue our journey north up I-5. Your forecasts in Oregon and Washington are next. Welcome back. You heard Rob mention that smoke from the northwest drifting into northern California. Let's now go to meteorologist Rod Hill in Portland with the fires burning in that state and if and when relief in the form of rain is coming.
Big story everywhere, of course, today is the autumnal equinox. It depends on exactly your location, but here in Portland, our fall begins at 11:19 a.m. this morning. And a reminder, this is the same everywhere, of course, that we don't play with the clocks. We don't fall back to get back to standard time until that first Sunday in November. So that's still 5-6 weeks out before we do that. Quick wildfire update. I tell you what, the cooler nights, we're getting, of course, decreasing daylight every day. That helps make the nights cooler. We've had some rain. The last batch dropped about 1/4 of an inch in Portland Sunday morning yesterday. And all of that has led to Oregon's wildfire map being back down to only 3 named large wildfires. 2 of them are pretty small. That Immigrant Fire, which has been one of the bigger fires all summer, really, still setting at about 32,000 acres, but it's 41% contained. And again, as we've been reminding you at this point, wildfire season, you would expect to get calmer and quieter until the October-November rain simply put the season out. So air quality is good, and we have a beautiful day coming. Tracking or watching this band of clouds offshore, but the next time we have a front march inland is not for a week, Monday or Tuesday of next week. So we are looking at a heck of a run of just beautifully comfortable sunny days. And certainly on this Monday, once we lose the low cloud and fog banks that we've had, chiefly along the Columbia and into the Willamette River, which is where Portland is. So Portland's been cloudy to start. Once that goes away during the AM hours, everybody's going to be looking at an absolutely perfectly clear sky. And already seeing that on some of our live cameras. Here's our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Beautiful sunny Monday underway. Not a cloud in the sky up at Timberline. And by the way, notice right there, that is the Palmer Snowfield. That is the snowfield that Timberline Lodge operates their summer skiing and boarding camps on. And if you go back a handful of years, or certainly a decade ago, this patch of snow always kept its postage stamp outline all the way until the snowy season returns in October, November. But now you can see it's continuing to dwindle. And at some point, confidence seems pretty high that we'll get into Septembers and Octobers where there won't be any snow there at all. So that's kind of a sign of the changing times up on the mountain. Now this is interesting. If you're not familiar with our area, this is the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club, which is in Alowitz on the west metro of the Portland area. And when you get up over what we call the West Hills and you head out west, it's beautifully clear. But if you come through the Sylvan Tunnel and up over the West Hills into downtown Portland along the Willamette, this is a matter of a 5-minute car ride. You get this. So it's really fascinating how different it can be. And the low clouds have gotten lower and absolutely some fog and some mist being reported. Confidence is high, I believe, that we will lose all of this and Portland will clear out again during the morning hours. You run down the valley to our state capital in Salem, and not perfectly clear, but almost perfectly clear. So our forecast for a Monday, and really as I'll show you in a moment, our 7-day, just wonderful September weather. We've got temperatures at the beach today into the mid to upper 60s, sunny skies, light winds. The valley is mostly clear right now. The cloudy spot is Portland. So Salem 77 later today. Some early fog spots, but not many in the mid-valley. A mostly clear day, light winds. Southwest Washington to lose the early clouds and fog, going on to be sunny with light winds. This shows Battleground, in fact, at 78 degrees. Really nice weather. Not records, but noticeably warmer and above normal tomorrow and Wednesday as we go up to the mid-80s. Our records, by the way, are still up into the 90s. And then we're back down in the 70s starting on Thursday with more of a marine influence. It could open the door for some early fog or low clouds, but what a great looking forecast all the way through Sunday.
It is a nice start to the new season. And as Rod pointed out, of course, we have people watching from different parts of the West Coast and different time zones. Pacific Standard Time, of course, fall starts at 11:19, but you heard Katie mention earlier 12:19 in Mountain Time, so it depends on where you are. All right, let's continue our journey from south to the north, from Portland to Western Washington. Meteorologist Rich Marriott is in Seattle with how smoke from those local fires burning in the state of Washington are impacting that region.
Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott. We finally got a little bit of rain over the last weekend of summer, of course, and it did help out a lot. We're now up to 49 hundredths of an inch there at the airport, where we got 43 hundredths out of that system moved through Saturday night, but it brought everybody up a little bit. We're still running well below normal, but every bit of contribution helps, that's for sure. And of course, as we head into the arrival of fall today, the sun is going to be out, so Mother Nature just works that way. Checking that countdown to fall, 11:19 Monday today is when it turns from summer into fall, so be prepared for that. And then just checking the future for us, 90 days from now is when we hit the winter solstice, which I like to think more in terms of that's when our daylight begins to increase again. We only have 8 hours and 8 hours and 25 minutes of daylight on that on the winter solstice. So we start to get some of that back beginning in just 90 days. That's a positive way to look at it. That's a pretty positive picture here. It looks like summertime out there, looking pretty nice. Looking out across Possession Sound this morning, out towards the Puget Sound in the distance, and see there in Tacoma, we've got a few low clouds that are around Puget Sound this morning. They kind of moving around, but they should go away, and by this afternoon we should be looking at sunshine. Might be a little bit of light smoke haze out there, but it's going to be up off the ground, not affect air quality today. Out at Westport along the coast, that marine deck in there and into southwestern Washington this morning, but again, they should be seeing at least a little bit of sunshine as we head towards the first afternoon of fall today. First alert 7-day forecast. Things actually warm up for the first 2 full days of fall for Tuesday and Wednesday. Temperatures should be in the 70s to maybe touch 80s in some of the warmer spots down in the South Sound. So good way to start off the season. We'll see it cool a little bit later in the week. We may see a couple of sprinkles or showers, but really nothing of significance precipitation wise. We checked the satellite image. Basically a ridge of high pressure is building in right now. That's going to kind of sit over us as we head towards Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's what's going to be giving us those temperatures in the 70s to near 80 degrees with lots of sunshine. That continues to move eastward and then kind of settles in over the western states, but not quite as much amplitude. So we'll see systems moving to the west coast are going to move over the top of it into Canada and just brush by the state. Not much in them when they do finally brush through here. Looks like maybe on Thursday and maybe again later Friday into Saturday might see a sprinkle or a couple of showers, but nothing quite as wet as what we saw last weekend. But we could definitely use that at this point because of all the fire problems. We checked the fire weather forecast for central Washington, basically the east slopes of the Cascades down into the lowlands, places like Wenatchee and Entiat, where we're seeing all the fire action taking place there. First of all, we have an air quality alert out for Chelan County until further notice. Unhealthy air quality over there because of all those fires. Not a lot of wind to move it out of there, so keep that in mind if you're headed that direction or if you live over there. And we'll be looking at low daytime humidities. Wind's not too much of a factor, only 5 to 10 miles per hour. Highs cooler than they were just a week or two ago, but still not really helping in terms of cooling the fires down that much. But it's kind of a neutral weather situation. Looks like for the next couple of days for firefighters. Checking the smoke situation, we put the model in motion. See a lot of smoke being produced by those fires right now, and some of it makes it over the Cascades in the next day or so, but as it has been through most of the summertime, it looks like that's going to be mostly up off the ground. Shouldn't have a real significant effect on our air quality here in western Washington. In fact, today things looking pretty good with good air quality up and down the Sound. And you can see that problems with the air quality and that air quality alert over there in Chelan County. So overall, taking a look at the mountains, they're looking pretty nice there. You can see a little bit of light smoke haze from that Bear Gulch fire, but not as bad as we've seen recently. And looking at the forecast, if you happen to be free today and go up and do some fall hiking, should be some nice colors up there in spots. We'll be looking for sunshine, temperatures getting to the low to mid 60s. If you get up to the passes, though, you're probably going to see some of that eastern Washington smoke trying to creep over them. So keep that in mind as selecting your trail that you want to hike. The farther west it is in the Cascades, probably the better. And the 7-day forecast. So today, sunshine, temperatures right around 70 degrees. Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, we warm up nicely. Temperatures in the 70s to near 80 degrees. We'll be brushed by a little weak system Thursday, partly sunny, maybe a couple of sprinkles, especially north of Seattle, and we'll see temperatures cool back to the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. Partly sunny on Friday, then another system kind of brushes by late Saturday into Sunday. Could give us a chance of a few showers scattered around, but again, quantities look pretty light, and those high temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s. And checking that 10-day forecast as we move into fall, we see those temperatures drop off a little bit as we head towards the end of September, but still stay fairly close to the normal highs, which should be in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees.
Thank you, Rich. Still ahead after the break, we will check in on our forecasts in Spokane and Boise. Plus, the worst of the summer heat might be behind us, but Mother Nature may not be the only way to cool down. How your roof could help drop temperatures. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Let's head to the other side of Washington. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is in Spokane with the forecast for the first few days of fall. And despite the evergreen state name, a look at when the fall colors will peak in the region.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. A chilly start to fall here in eastern Washington. Actually, our temperatures have been as cool as they've been so far this transition season between summer and fall now. But the sun is out. It is reflecting beautifully off of the river here with the fall colors maybe just getting interested in the season now. Funny enough, we're only a couple weeks away from what is usually our peak foliage. Just hasn't been cold enough to really change those fall colors just yet. Love to talk about fall, but unfortunately the summer weather still going to linger on more days than not. Really, today is definitely our coolest day of the week, thanks to the cold front that passed through the region yesterday, already through central Montana as of this morning. In its wake, left things obviously quite a bit cooler, but in regions that got rain and thunderstorms last night, actually experienced a bit of some early morning fog and low cloud coverage just because the moisture is still lingering in that region. So this is all in northeastern Washington and far north Idaho, just kind of the northernmost counties here, but not over Spokane, but just a little bit of a hangover effect from the areas that actually got a reasonable amount of rain. In Spokane, it was only 0.05 of an inch, so not enough to produce any kind of fog as of this morning. But temperatures got as cold as they've been actually so far this whole season, transition season, at 44 in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. And look at the Palouse, 39 degrees, the low in Pullman. By far the coldest it's been recently here. But funny enough, that's actually pretty close to what is the average temperature for September 22nd. The average low is 47, again, only 3 degrees below that. I would call that near normal. Just this September has been anything but. It's been warmer more often than not. The high today should be about 69 degrees, which again is near normal for this week. So we're at the official start of fall, the astronomical start to fall, in what we call the autumnal equinox. This will be the moment where the Earth's tilt is exactly perpendicular in orbit to the sun, meaning that the sun's rays fall directly on the equator. That happens at 11:19 a.m. Pacific time today to officially mark the start of fall. Are the colors looking it? Not quite yet, but a few leaves might just be changing color. Those first shades of yellow or crimson red could be just dotting the trees, but not very much. This is very low partial as it stands, but nice to see at least a little bit of fall colors just starting to enter the region. Funny enough, our peak foliage is usually the first to second week of October, so it happens very, very quickly. So the pattern this week, as you'll see across most of the West Coast here, very quiet. This high pressure region just keeping the jet stream to the north, and the ridge plus that high pressure will give us warmer than average conditions. For Spokane, that means plenty of days in the 70s and 80s. So we are going to continue this theme of what has been by far, I mean it, by far, the hottest September on record so far. Our average temperature through the first 3 weeks has been 72 degrees, over 3 degrees above the previous record, which was actually just last year. So if we're staying in the 70s and 80s for high temperatures, this mark is still not going to move all that much. And that is the direction we are heading in what is still kind of like a lingering and leftover summer season now into this first full week of fall. So today's our coolest day at 69 degrees under those sunny skies. But then we're in the 70s and 80s for the rest of the week. The other thing that makes this a very summer-like forecast is the fact that it is still dry, and consistently so. There are no rain chances at all in Spokane this week.
Thank you, Thomas. Now let's head to nearby Idaho. Tyson White is in Boise with the forecast for the first few days of fall in Idaho.
Boise, and we're taking a look at some of the photos submitted to our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. This was sent in by Glenn Wright of a photo at Idaho Falls of the lightning strike over the town there. Just a beautiful shot, kind of the fury of nature out there. Just a wonderful, you can see all the colors there and that bolt there, just a nice shot. So thank you for sharing that to our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page, Glenn. Taking a look around our region this today, that is, and we're looking at Redfish Lake. You can see some of the clouds burning off through so far this morning into that area that was seeing some fog in the Valley County area this morning. Really beautiful shot there over Warm Lake. You can see kind of the crystal clear conditions there. We'll start seeing some smoke funneling into this area throughout today as well. Taking a look here in the Boise area, we got some clear skies here, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures this morning were in the low 50s for many areas. And then one of my favorite shots here, this is Highway 55 at Smith's Ferry with Cougar Mountain Lodge in the background there. Lots of foggy conditions, some patchy fog along the Valley County and that Highway 55 corridor throughout the morning. And then up at McCall at May Marina, just a really nice time lapse this morning as things started waking up and the sun came out there over the marina. Just a beautiful shot there as always. And of course, today is the first day of fall. It begins here in the southern portion of Idaho about 12:19 this afternoon. And that means it's the point where the sun is directly over the equator, meaning both equal time daylight and nighttime as well out there. It's also kind of the transition period between summer and fall here in the northern hemisphere of the U.S. and just really kind of shows the balance of temperatures out there because we're going to be sitting at about a high of 74 degrees today. Temperatures for overnight lows were right about average. We're a few degrees below the daytime high average of 77, about 3 or 4 degrees around much of the Treasure Valley. Nowhere near that record high back in 1966 of 99 degrees. However, we will get warm later on. Daytime highs yesterday, we were in the upper 70s, low 80s in many Treasure Valley locations. Warm spot being Mountain Home at 82. Magic Valley was up in the upper 70s yesterday as well. We saw cooler temperatures today and into Sunday night into Monday morning, that is, thanks in part to this cool front that pushed through yesterday, brought us those scattered showers, those rumbles of thunder, a couple lightning strikes around the area, but it's also bringing in some cooler temperatures today. It's going to be bringing in some smoke as well, but the other thing is it's going to bring in some warmer temperatures later this week. We'll talk about that in the 7-day forecast. Here's that smoke I was talking about. As we push it through this morning and into this afternoon, the mountain locations, our west mountain locations like Cascade, McCall, Donley, and eastern Oregon will see the heavier portions of this smoke. Into tonight, things start to kind of filter into the Treasure Valley. We'll see that kind of haze along the horizon a little bit. And then as that pushes through Tuesday into Wednesday, things start to clear out just a little bit. There'll be a light haze maybe across much of southern Idaho, but things will start funneling out as we have more of that high pressure system moving in. Today, though, for the Treasure Valley areas, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures up in the mid-70s across much of the area. Magic Valley, plenty of sunshine here. Temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s, that is. Plenty of sunshine and nice day for the most part out there. Magic Valley, once again, 71 out there in Shoshone. Gooding, 70 degrees. Central Mountain locations, upper 60s, low 70s. Lots of sunshine for everybody out there. Same thing goes for the west central mountains. However, we will start to see those hazy conditions popping up here along Long Valley, as well as Riggins and Council out there. Parts of the western Treasure Valley could also see that. Weezer, Ontario, Payette could see some hazier skies today. And then much of the Treasure Valley will see that kind of glow, that orange glow this afternoon and this evening as the sun starts to set. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast here for the Treasure Valley, things are looking pretty fall-like today with that first day of fall, 74 degrees. But then we see that warm-up kind of starting in on midweek there. 80 by tomorrow, 85 by Wednesday and Thursday. And then taking a look at your 7-day forecast for the Magic Valley out here. Temperatures in the low 70s, upper 60s for today. Plenty of sunshine once again. And then summer creeps its way back in for the Magic Valley by midweek once again. 80s for low 80s, that is, for the middle portion of the week. Taking a look at your mountain forecast, things looking good here too. Hazy skies today and tomorrow, and then things start to warm up again midweek. Really nice weekend shaping up there for the mountain areas here in southern Idaho.
Thanks, Tyson. Still ahead after the break, a check on our national forecast. Stay with us. Welcome back. We talked about our weather out west. Now let's zoom the lens out and look at the national forecast. Julie Martin is tracking severe weather in the Midwest.
Fall has officially arrived today, the first day of fall, and right on cue, we do have some pattern changes, especially in the Midwest, the Ohio River Valley. Some rain and some storms finally rolling in, and we could really use that rain. We'll stay cool here in the west. Here are your forecast highs for Monday. We'll see the 70s around the Great Lakes, 70s in New England, 80s as we head into the Mid-Atlantic and into the South, 90s across Texas. Denver, you'll be at 75, and then we have the cooler weather in the Pacific Northwest, 69 for you in Spokane. Into the Southwest, we still stay hot in Phoenix with 97, 78 in San Diego. So overall, a relatively quiet day out there. We do have some rip current concerns along the eastern half of the U.S. That's because of Gabrielle, which is way out in the Atlantic, not expected to have any direct impacts to the U.S. Here is your severe weather threat. It's relatively low, but we do have a slight risk here in yellow. That's for the Oklahoma Panhandle and through central Oklahoma. Anywhere in this general coastal zone, though. That's where we could see a few stronger storms develop with hail and damaging winds. Then some storminess, as I mentioned, in the mid-south up into the Ohio Valley. So parts of the Midwest there, you will also be getting perhaps some isolated storms. Here's a big look at the picture as we head into Futurecast, showing that messy weather system here all across the Midwest, from Chicago to St. Louis over to Cleveland. We'll see all of that continue on as we have a system, an upper level system that will just be hanging out, keeping things a bit unsettled. And then by Tuesday and through Wednesday, we start to see this sag a little bit more to the south. By midweek, Atlanta, you'll be getting in on some of that rainfall, which again is much needed because we've been in a drought. All right, here are the forecast highs as we look to the west. Seattle staying on the cooler side with those highs in the 70s. That goes for you in Spokane, although you'll be climbing to the 80s by midweek. Boise in the 80s by midweek also. And then heading into the southwest, still hot in Phoenix with the triple digits. Denver, you're in for a big weather change as the rain moves in and those temperatures really plummet, with highs only in the 50s by the time we hit Tuesday. We'll stay mostly quiet across Texas with the 90s hanging on. And into the south we go with the 80s from Little Rock to Atlanta. Tampa, you'll be in the 90s. And then into the mid-south, we start to see conditions calm down and cool off a bit. St. Louis, you're going to be around 79, 75 by midweek, and then we'll see the 80s elsewhere across the region. Heading into the upper Midwest, very comfortable weather, very fall-like from Minneapolis to Indianapolis with the 70s. Cool in Portland as well with the 70s, and Buffalo, you'll be a bit unsettled with the temperatures not climbing out of the 70s. DC, you'll fall back to the 70s by midweek, and Norfolk looks good for you. Nice forecast with the 80s.
Thanks, Julie. Still ahead, did you know the color of your roof can impact the temperature of your home and neighborhood? After the break, a look at what areas are now implementing standards for cool roof colors to help cool down temperatures. Finally today, the color of your roof can cool your home. While California has already started implementing standards to cool roofs, the Northwest has yet to catch up. I sat down with one woman who is working to change that.
You can imagine what it feels like without even touching it. Black pavement on a hot day.
We've all experienced black asphalt on hot summer days, and we know it's hot to the touch.
Climate scientist and advocate Katie Kaku points out this same pattern happens on any surface, including roofs.
A dark colored shingle actually absorbs the heat, and this has impacts both on your home and on the surrounding neighborhood.
Multiply that impact with every house in a city. The city as a whole then becomes hotter, creating what's called an urban heat island.
The urban heat island is a phenomenon that causes cities to experience temperatures as much as 15 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than the surrounding areas due to the built environment.
The color of a surface can drastically impact the temperature. This is called albedo, or how much a surface absorbs or reflects heat from sun's radiation. A dark surface has a low albedo, meaning it absorbs that radiation and typically ends up warmer. A light-colored surface has a high albedo, meaning it reflects that sun's radiation and ends up cooler. And Katie says pushing for more light-colored roofs would ultimately cool the temperature of your home and your neighborhood.
A city with lots of trees by the water, such as Ballard or Magnolia, if on a hot summer day, if that's temperature hits 85 degrees, areas such as Renton or Auburn or Kent within the industrial corridor that has fewer trees and much more black surfaces, those regions can be 11 degrees warmer.
So she's on a mission, pushing for everyone to choose lighter colored roofing materials when building new homes or updating an old roof.
By changing the color choices slightly, we can make meaningful action and address the urban heat island effect and reduce the temperatures of cities by as much as 2 degrees. I don't understand why such a simple action, there might be so much resistance to such a simple action.
So I asked a roofing expert why people would lean toward darker roofs.
Black's the most popular, I think, due to the aesthetic.
Mike Tappert, owner of Upper West Exteriors, says people choose dark for the appearance, but if they wanted to choose a lighter shingle to lower temperatures, it's easy.
The actual cost difference isn't very much, but people just kind of assume it's going to be way more expensive.
The install is the same, so it's a simple fix for consumers for a positive change.
It's kind of a logical conclusion to come to that, like if you're wearing a black t-shirt outside, you feel warmer versus wearing a nice light white t-shirt in the sun, you're going to feel a little bit cooler. So it makes sense that it applied to rooftops also, which are going to be a huge square footage impact of that heat absorption from the sun.
A handful of cities have created ordinances for industrial buildings to put lighter roofs. And this year, Atlanta actually passed a bold new law requiring every new roof, industrial and residential, to follow standards that will lower temperatures between 2 to more than 6 degrees. Katie would like to see similar standards for new builds in the Northwest.
This is a change we can implement right now, like just simply by mandating more reflective surfaces, higher albedo building materials. We can make meaningful action right now, and it's so easy.
For Environment Northwest, I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti.
Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West. Happy Monday. Happy first day of fall. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. We will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day.